Welcome back. Now, it's October, and that means it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, a lot of research, funding, and of course, testimonies of cancer survivors have been the reason many more people are aware of the dangers, and more importantly, now know how to prevent it. Well, tonight my guests are no strangers to our screens, as we've told their stories before on this platform, but we decided to check in with them on how they are navigating life post-cancer and the lessons they have learned so far. Joining me now are Lali Marie and Mwende Mutiso, both cancer survivors. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Let me begin with you, Lali. You call yourself the cancer queen on social media. Why is that? You need to unmute yourself so we can hear you, Lali.
Okay, thank you, Vicky, for having me in your show. How is your evening? I trust you're fine and you're good. Yeah, I decided to call myself as a cancer queen because I felt like I have fought this battle and cancer, so I thought I should call myself cancer queen. Yeah.
And you were actually diagnosed when you were 18, is that correct?
I started showing some symptoms when I was 18, but I was diagnosed when I was 21.
And what was that journey like for you, being so young, getting that diagnosis? How did you navigate that time?
Okay, it was difficult. It was hard because that's around 2011, and not many people who knew about cancer. So I could really fear about my life. Then it was immediately I did my KCSE. So I felt like the whole world is against me, and I could really ask myself a lot of questions. Why me? And I felt like I'll just die. It was so stressful, and at some point I felt like I should just die, or I should just commit suicide. Yeah.
No, it's definitely a difficult process to go through. Let me bring Mwende in. Mwende, it's been, 2 years since I last spoke to you. We told your story. We followed you through your chemotherapy, and that was really in the middle of the pandemic. And the last time we spoke to you, at the time, you had to go for chemotherapy every 3 weeks. It was costing, 100,000 shillings for those sessions. How did you manage, in terms of the cost, to ensure that you were consistent with your treatment?
Thank you, Victoria, for inviting me. So I will say, first of all, as you've said, it was it was more than 100,000 for one session every 3 weeks. And unfortunately, the insurance which I had and the NHIF could not cover for the costing. And this was mainly because for my second diagnosis, I had stage 4 breast cancer. And it basically meant that I needed to be on Herceptin every 3 weeks for as long as it works. So in terms of the cost, by end of 2020, I could not afford the treatment anymore. So I had to actually stop taking Herceptin.
So you mentioned you were battling stage 4 cancer. When we met, that was the second time that you were having to do that. What's your status now?
At the moment, miraculously, I have no evidence of cancer, of any active cancer, that is. With stage 4, you can't be declared cancer-free. So I'm still on treatment, but I have no evidence of cancer, which is really great news.
Fantastic. Yeah. Congratulations on that. I'll come back to you, Mwende. But Lali, I know you also help other cancer patients navigate the healthcare system. It can get, beyond costly, very complicated. So what kind of support do you offer them?
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Yeah, it's very much expensive for any cancer patient to get treatment, and sometimes some people have to sell their things, or they have to take loans, you know. But on my side, I started a support group that is called Hope for Youth Against Cancer, whereby if I get a youth or a young people going through cancer, most of the time it's young people, we always do maybe fundraising online, or we do some GoFund, you know. Yeah, so that's what we do.
And beyond the cost implications, what other challenges do especially younger patients face when trying to access treatment?
Yeah, it's difficult because some don't know, like, you know, there's that ignorance all over, maybe in this country, I may say, that people really ignore, and they feel like they are not prone to cancer, and they are like, cancer is for old people. So at times, when they get cancer, they are like, no, they have denial, no. Number two, like, they're like, I can get treatment. So, yeah.
And Mwende, let me come back to you because, you know, you're on the other side of this now. You're in remission, and it can be sometimes difficult coming from a track of always seeking treatment. You're constantly in the hospital. You're seeing specialists for different things. And now you no longer have to do that, and you're having to craft a new life for yourself. How has that been for you?
Actually, I'm still supposed to be on treatment, on medication, and I do checkups. I'm supposed to do checkups every 3 months. So again, in terms of finances, it's quite expensive since I'm supposed to be doing, the scans, and, there are injections I need to take every 3 months. There's the daily medication. It's still expensive, and sometimes, unfortunately, I have to choose. Which treatment am I going to do? Will I do the scans, the duration which I'm supposed to do, or should I postpone it? So it has been a challenge, and since one of the challenges I've had is actually I had to move in with my sister, since I could not afford living alone anymore. So so I had to do that. And there's also the challenge of managing the palliative care in general. I was also in university. I had to put my studies on hold since I had again to choose between treatment and studies. So I have to say, one of the main challenges are the finances, and this kind of cuts across from everybody who have come across, the patients and caregivers and survivors. So the challenge of finances is actually a really huge thing. I would say the government is doing a bit to support us in terms of, giving us better packages of NHIF, but I feel like they need to do more so that we can get not only affordable but accessible and timely treatment, because that is key in order for better results. So there's also mental health challenges. One other item which I didn't think I really needed therapy, since when I was diagnosed I was not advised to do any therapy. I didn't feel like I needed to, but along the way you do realize that your mental health becomes an issue, and you need support from your support system, and sometimes you also need medical support. So these are again services which are quite expensive. For as normal therapy is about 3,000 per session, which not everybody can afford. So the finances are a huge challenge. And of course, there's also the stigma around, being diagnosed with cancer at a young age. The last born in our family, we don't have any history of cancer. So there was stigma there. I got quite a number of, responses from people. There are some people who are insinuating that I didn't eat right or have been cursed. So there's stigma around cancer diagnosis. And one of the reasons why I decided to start sharing my story, especially after the second diagnosis, it's to also show young people out there that there is life after this diagnosis. The challenges are there for sure, but you can still live beyond this.
So Mwende, what does life after the diagnosis actually look like for you? I'm curious to know what new activities you're engaging in now that are giving you a sense of hope.
Yes, so one of the things, after I got my second diagnosis, I came up with this list, a bucket list. Now I call it a dream list. So because when I was diagnosed the second time, I was told I have a year to live. So I came up with a list of things I wanted to do before I die at that time. And one of the things was to climb a mountain. And around beginning of last year, I joined an organization called Kilele Health Association, which is made up of cancer survivors and caregivers. So I managed to summit Mount Kenya last year in September with them, and this year in March, Mount Kilimanjaro. So I've been doing different activities to also just, bring some spice in my life and to not have a dull, there's this notion whereby when you're diagnosed with cancer, you kind of don't have anything else to do other than either do treatment. So we are trying to demystify that as well.
Amazing, and congratulations on summiting Mount Kenya and Mount Kilimanjaro. You also summited the mountain of cancer as well, I must say that. Lali, let me come to you because, it's been 13 years since you went through your bout with cancer. And when you think about now, and, of course, Mwende has talked about some of the things that she's done to kind of live a normal life. I know you shared on social media this week, in fact, that you were going for a PET scan. Of course, this is routine. Do you ever kind of go through the fear that it will come back? And how do you deal with that feeling or that fear?
Thank you, Becky. Yeah, it has been a difficult year for me because I have been having few issues here and there, and I have been having some red flags which I have been assuming they might be a recurrence. So yeah, I was taken to a PET scan where I got my results yesterday. I have the results as far now, but I don't want to read. I don't want to decide or to conclude what they say. I want to go to my doctor next week, part 1, and they can give me the way forward. And I'm gonna go through a second line chemo. If I'm free or if no cells are seen, I'll just be like, I don't know where I'm gonna go because I'm gonna be super, super happy. Okay, life has been well and it has been okay. I'm this person, like, I love work and work and work. Like, sometimes I work excessively, just to keep myself busy. And also, like, like people when they are diagnosed with cancer, they are like, okay, let me just sit back, and maybe ask for help. But to me, I was like, I need to work. I want to get my own money. I need to save. And if by any chance I get someone to help with what I earn, I'm okay. So I'm still eagerly waiting for my results.
Well, Lali, we
For
are
the
wishing
doctor
you
to tell
all
me
the
what.
best, and you are a fighter. You have proven that over the years, and we believe that you will certainly overcome this as well. Thank you so much to Lali and Mwende for sharing their stories of triumph and beating cancer. It is possible, and having a life after it all. All right, on that note, let's take a short break here on Citizen Weekend Sports News.